as opposed
No,
to.
I'm very familiar with it. Very familiar with it.
It's the fact that it's like a revelation. We're like, yeah,
I'm very familiar.
yeah, I do know this. Yeah. So deflection.
I think I told someone that very recently. So you're deflecting. Don't deflect. I trust
it on
you.
myself. Like
I have?
times.
Really?
Don't worry, my dear. Don't worry, dear.
The problem about my anger, that's one problem, is I absolutely do not remember anything I say. Like once I'm fine.
You're good.
Like I'm good.
The
So
other
when you're
person-
like, I'm like, oh my God, when I did. Oh my God, I'm sorry.
Hi everybody. It's B of the Flow with KB podcast. Again, I think you're kind of like familiar with me by now. And
Hi guys, this is Koforela of the Flow with KB podcast, and welcome to today's episode of our show. Abi, that was we to do. Damn it.
is that it? Hey, we just go with the flow. Over here, that's what we do, right? So normally, Kofo is the topic introducer, but I will be doing the honors today. Thank you so much, Your Royal Majesty, for the honor and the pleasure to be introducing the topic for the KB podcasts of today.
I can't see my facial expression, but I'm sure it's golden. I'm looking at you.
Ladies and gentlemen, today we are talking about fight languages. See, when Kofo first said this topic to me, I'm like,
Per usual.
languages? But again, it's Koforela. I mean, the girl comes up with the most. Yeah, let's leave it at that sort of things. I don't know how your mind, such a special thing.
Hey God, you don't understand. What's the mind I'm trying to use to make money? Sorry, that was an aside.
Meanwhile, you people will pardon me. I need to be comfortable to be able to, give you the best kind of content out there, And the way I can be comfortable today on this cushion shot, you people should not be hungry.
I think I'm going to follow suit.
Aroko ni me. If it's not pleasing to you, you can send me a DM on 00 or reach me on Voice of Joy.
The only funny thing is people that are listening do not even understand what you're saying, like what you just did. Do you understand? They don't know what you just did.
Oh, listening!
Yeah.
So they should go and watch.
Probably.
To get it, they should go to YouTube and watch it. Do you see that? YouTube, aka YouTube. You see that?
In the morning, I said unique. Huh? What if I'm seeing that and YouTube?
No. It's not comparable. Unique, huh?
Unique, huh?
Unique.
That's it. But that's not the meaning of YouTube. I say YouTube. Unique. That's the meaning now.
Unique is unique, huh?
Yes, now. Only you. That's a unique.
I can think.
Yeah.
No, dear, stop it. You are really trying to defend unique is...
Unique.
I can't even say it. I feel like we're fighting already.
We are.
Are we?
I don't know. No, you might be fighting with me, but me, I'm not fighting with you.
That happens?
A lot, Abba. You be fighting with somebody, but he's not fighting with you.
Oh, right. How does that work?
You want to relax.
You're rude.
Why you get your own beauty, take your own scrap, relax,
You are rude and you are Raz, but all established points.
Rude and Raz, R square.
Hey! Stop. We're done. We're back. So sorry, guys. We do go off.
No. Cut you.
We're back.
But that joke was actually intelligent. For those that got it,
I literally said we're back, and this girl went back.
No, I'm just trying to say. So I never said I was. I'm just saying. Stanley, did you get that joke? Ma, did you get the joke? I'm going to explain.
I absolutely do not want an explanation. I am so sure with all of my life that I do not want an explanation.
Okay.
So can we move on now?
We can.
Thank you so much, Your Royal Majesty Koforela. It's an honor.
Today, royal, rude, Raz, listen, pay.
You wanna do three? You want
No. It has to be R square. It just has to be.
You don't. Okay.
That's the D. I had to
How
throw
in
that
God's
in.
name is it you I chose as podcast partner?
Let's talk about today's topic before we beat ourselves.
Fight language. I feel like sometimes we do have such. So, I want to give you guys inside gist about Kofo. Yes, one of Kofo's fight languages is plenty English. When Kofo is upset, and I don't think you know that you're plenty English. Like in you expressing yourself, it almost always will make the other person feel very small and tiny. Yes, it's just because what happens most times is you are expressing pent up. Do you understand? Like you've not talked about it. You've tried to maybe play around it because again, sweet girl, and the other person does not know that anything is happening. So when you now express, it's like what did we
I
carry?
do not appreciate.
What do we drop? That yes. She's telling you.
I did not appreciate.
I don't think that it's, what was one of the words you used? I don't think it's reasonable. I'm like, I'm not unreasonable. I'm a very reasonable person. Why are you going to say to me you don't think it's reasonable? So, I want to ask you, do you believe that you use fight languages when you have misunderstandings, altercations, stuff?
I think the best way for me to answer that question is if you let us know what fight language is. Yes. So I think that's a good place to start.
Yes, your lordship. Who am I?
As the God pleases.
I'm here to serve you as a lawyer. As your lordship pleases. Okay, so I'll start with something that I saw, an article that I liked, and I loved the opening line of the article. It's by Brianna Wiest, Wiest. And I don't know if Brianna is a guy or girl, but let me assume that it's a lady because it sounds feminine, Brianna. So it says, your fight language is the secret thing that determines whether a relationship will work. There are dozens of different ways to determine whether or not you'll be compatible with a person. But the way you fight or really argue is what's going to determine whether or not your relationship will work. Anybody can get along when it's good and life is going swimmingly and smoothly. But when there are pressing decisions to be made, challenges, these things could either make or break a relationship. And that's not a coincidence because it's then that you see what you really need to know about a person, right? So, and then it goes on to say that one of the fight languages is deflection.
Sounds familiar.
To who?
To me.
Okay, you deflect.
It sounds familiar.
Okay, great. And it says, this is when the problem is not, addressed. It just, when it's brought up, someone's fight language, they just completely close off from hearing it or just talk about something else. Or they tend to get counter. So the word here is they bring up a counter argument as opposed to...
I'm very familiar with it. Very familiar with it.
It's the fact that it's like revelation. We're like, yeah.
I'm very familiar.
Yeah, I do know this. Yeah. So deflection.
And I think I told someone that very recently too. You're deflecting. Don't deflect. I trust
it on myself
I have
times.
Really?
Don't worry, my dear. Don't worry, dear.
The problem about my anger, that's one problem is I absolutely do not remember anything I say. Like once I'm fine.
You're good.
Like I'm good. So when you're like, I'm like, oh my God, when I did? Oh my God, I'm sorry. Go on, please.
Right. So yeah, it's just when you're deflecting, you don't want to hear what you've done wrong, or you don't believe, or people that you would tell that they're doing something wrong, and as opposed to taking in that they're doing something wrong, they're giving reasons for what has happened.
I have a question. Is deflecting also? I'm saying this from experience. So you're saying, for instance, now, Kofo, you do this, blah, 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 and everything I've seen, I discount and I sit and I don't like that tone. You just pick out. So do you understand what I'm saying? You pick out something
that's
else.
that's
everything that person is saying. You now pick out. So is that why you're talking to me like that?
Yeah.
Is that why?
Yeah. Yeah. People do that a lot, especially in arguments.
And I think it's more common when the power dynamics is pair and like senior junior. I know how to explain it.
Okay.
I think that's when. So it's like the senior doing it for the junior or a pair.
Okay.
I don't
equal.
I don't think it goes down up. I might be wrong, but that's just myself.
Yeah, and I feel like this deflecting is one of the most common ones that I've seen.
But you see, how can you want to hook me in one corner? I have to find a way to, if I get
Right now, I feel like those watching or listening are like, yes, Kofo, yes, Kofo. If you're saying yes, stop it.
No, but I saw it. I watched the TikTok yesterday, and the girl was like, "What happens when
TikTok?
What happens when your boyfriend is finally right?" So she was arguing, yes, they say no. So they Googled and the guy was right. She played the Man in Black for him. You know that forgetting that they said, when you now remember that she's right. Because they say babes are never wrong. Like, how can I be wrong?
Like,
even if I'm wrong because you failed to point me to the right direction.
Look at that.
That's bad behavior.
Bad behavior.
That's bad behavior. I'm guilty
bad.
and it's bad behavior.
Bad behavior, yes. Don't do it. Now, the next one says suppression, then overexpression.
Oh my God, I feel like you're just calling me. Because we talked about not too long ago the suppression and the overexpression.
Yes. They say people who suppress their emotions and then have a melt. Come on.
What's your problem? This is not Kofo Roast episode, but continue, please.
I'm sorry, the fact that we talked about it before this.
I don't like your tone.
So anyway, you'll be all right there. Drink Fanta. People who suppress their emotions and then have a meltdown one day believe that their feelings are not going to be heard or valued. So they hide them for the same reason that they will eventually blow up, because they get tired of feeling the same way that they do about their ideas and yada, yada, yada. And then people who overexpress is that after they explode, the issue is quickly swept under the rug and they are back to acting as though everything is normal, but they've blown it out of proportion already.
I understand.
Do you understand? Yes, I do. Because it's like, if you had just talked about it, it would have been small. But because you've kept it, you now, in trying to express, you just...
I think that overexpression. I think that overexpression comes a lot from bottling things up for a long time.
Yeah.
So when you're angry, so for instance, maybe someone has seen something has been upsetting. The day the person it takes your
something
viral,
tiny.
You will now remember everything. So I think one very good way to walk through that thing is, which is one method I tried to adopt sometime last year or 2 years ago, I tried to talk about things immediately. I was very consciously, I'm like, before I used to deflect, I'm like, you know what, I'm upset, I don't talk about it now. Because I know that if I do talk about it now,
that's it.
I would forget about it and I'll bottle it up. As we're speaking, I remember something very silly.
Of course you did.
So when I was dating for many years back, I used to tell myself something. I'm like, and I've heard it on Instagram before. I don't know if you've seen it. I was like, when I was dating, because I watched too many American movies or Nigerian movies, that I used to, I was waiting for a situation like when my ex then would do something and I would just walk out and just slam the door like bang, bang, bang. It never happened. When you date someone that doesn't have stress,
like,
it used to pay me. Like, just be angry. Let me just, why are you rubbing me off of being able to walk out and slam the door? Like, don't talk to me. Look. When you're a drama queen.
Because that is not okay, dear.
You know, I just go in and just, I did it when I was younger. I think my parents were having an argument. I don't know what had happened, but I think my mom or my dad, I just said, oh, leave me alone. And I went to my room and I slammed the door. It was at that moment I realized I fuck up. I didn't know how I was going to leave the room. Like you say, what? Interestingly, none of my parents took offense. My mom just said, never in your life.
Diva, again, babe.
Will you slam the door when I'm talking to you? But I thought she was going to react more than she did. I'm glad she didn't react. I didn't leave that remote soon. I slept because I didn't know the fate that befell me at the other end of the door.
I'm so
But I was within my right to be angry. Like, you guys obsess me. But let's go to you. So we said deflection, overreacting, underreacting.
Yeah. Suppressing. Then we have dominating.
Bullies.
Hey, God. Oh.
You have a story, Boomer.
People who
have a story.
will hear the other person's feelings, but they won't actually listen to them. Instead, they find roundabout ways to convince them that their emotions are misinformed.
Gaslighter! Hey! I'm sorry that I screamed.
You actually shout.
Hey,
Can I finish?
Hey, Boma. I pray you never meet those kind of people.
You have not met them, dear.
Or if you've met them, I'm sorry. I'm apologizing because, Boma,
You will
start asking
run
yourself,
mad. You will run
am I
mad.
mad?
It's not a bit. I say you will run mad.
You know,
guy.
I think how you cut your hands.
Ah,
I hate this.
It's like somebody should say 1 a.m. It's like somebody should say at exactly 11 a.m. in the morning, the moon came out. I'm like, no, now it's the sun. Say no, it's the moon. The problem is that when you open your curtain, you're not wearing your glasses, and you don't see normally without your glasses, which is true. But it's the sun. So that's what I'm saying. Like, and you carry facts of my life and give me and tell me that what I'm saying is a lie. It's bullshit.
I'm just reminiscing on
no, girl.
Make you
Let's
guess if you're
not go
mad.
there.
I'm like, but me, yeah, weary now. I'm not mad.
Jesus,
I know what I'm saying.
Jesus.
Gosh. But the
breathe.
thing is that it feels like there's a.
Ah.
I think that's because when you started saying the definition, I was going to say what's the difference between that and deflecting. So I think that's the key difference. Where they want to make you do as if you have mad.
Yeah.
Deflectors, we just deflect.
Deflect to deflect. So deflectors run away from. It's like
They don't
want to
confront.
face it. Yes.
But this one,
dominating people are saying it does not exist.
like, girl, you're mad. No, like
Shit.
no, that's what they're saying. Like, baby, I love you, but you're foolish.
Like what you're saying is not possible. It didn't happen.
Or and it really it happens a lot in maybe, and I know that I say it's a lot in cheating situation. I don't know why, but that's one that readily comes to mind.
It happens in friendship.
No, it does. It does.
A lot.
I be like,
A whole lot.
But my talk,
whole
spill,
lot.
spill.
Where I'm telling somebody that, guy, this thing is a pattern. It's a constant. Like, look at it. And the person is saying, no, it's because of this and this. I'm like, now. Oh, the guy, stop it. I don't like such. I'm seeing it. It happened number 1 time, number 2 time, number 5 time. You say, no, it's not a pattern. What then do you call a pattern?
And I think, I think this is also
I need
sort
to
of
breathe.
what, when people talk about
Narcissism.
narcissistic people.
Narcissistic people.
Yeah.
Yes, people who are narcissists. This
Yeah.
is part of it.
This is-
Gaslighters, they're narcissists. They never admit.
And they said something about people from dominating. That's typically when it happens.
And let me read something that I found very interesting when I read this. It says, people who dominate, right? They will hear other person's feelings and then they don't take it into cognizance. And it says that, interestingly, these also tend to be the most emotional and fragile people. And what they're trying to avoid is the sense that they have done something wrong or hurt somebody. Underneath what appears to be a narcissistic facade is a very sensitive person trying to shield themselves from the world. Oh, bad, yeah.
No, chill. So I think it's 2 ways. You talk about the beginning part where it's like an overt reaction, very open.
We don't know even of overt.
I just said open.
Okay.
Then there's the
Thank you
other
very
one,
much.
which babes tend to fall under. We're not excluded. That's one of emotional. Then that's when I start crying like, but baby, I love, like, I know. I've met them. Like, they'll now bring all the weapons in their emotional weapons in their ass now. Employ tears.
That's bad.
Employ kinika.
Guys, don't stay with women like that. That's not okay.
But
that
do you think you've not done
yourself,
anything? If you like, just reflecting.
No. I've not been.
You've not been a giver. You've been the receiver.
No.
You've been at the receiving end.
I've been both. I've not used my emotions, right?
You don't have now.
No, I've deflect. What does that even
You
mean?
don't get emotions.
What is wrong with
But
you?
I don't have emotions. But you people know.
I have emotions.
You do.
I take offense to that.
Okay, now I show emotions.
I have, yes.
I like that I pulled out the emotions.
Emotion.
Great God.
I feel pain. I feel joy. I feel hurt. I feel peace. Those are emotions.
Okay.
What's strong in you? Sure. One yourself.
What? I still learning. I think I'm learning Igbo.
As I was saying,
Anyways.
have I been on the receiving end of dominating people? Yes, I have. Have I been a dominating person? Yes, unconsciously. Do you understand? And it took somebody, but it wasn't dominating of not accepting. So the problem sometimes is, if you're a confident person, you can become dominating and not know it.
It's the way you're saying it for me, like the way you're saying it is such,
With such what?
I don't know how to, that zest, that,
You need to be held. So yes, I've been in rooms where my domination was not that I was bullying anybody, but just in being me, like we're saying on one of the episodes, that when you have a big personality sometimes, and that's why I could say that, because you have to, check the room, check the space. You can't be the only voice, and it seems like every other person is like, oh, no need, Boma will talk, oh, no need, Boma is there. It means you're not giving room for other people to also shine. Do you understand? So that can also be domineering. So yes, do I have the capacity to be dominating? Yes, and I recognize it. So I watch, like, I'm very careful and I watch myself.
So I think what I will say is, I think every one of us has the capacity to be any of these things you said. Are you done with the list?
It's to know it's no, I'm not to. Then there's mediating, lawyer. They say mediators have one objective in mind, and that's to reach a compromise. They don't have easily bruised egos and are able to truly listen in on an argument and then respond with their own.
Stanley, does that describe you?
They are masters at maintaining an even tone. Yeah? I don't know. Maybe in relationship it's different because I'm realizing that people do have
Different
double
personality.
personality. When they are friends, great stuff. When they're in relationship, a different stuff. Different ship, different behavior. But I feel like, yes, our studio manager, our producer, Mr. Stanley,
I feel like we put this guy on the spot too much.
Yeah, I tell you.
Everybody now wants to know who is the Stanley behind you.
Yeah, we love you, Stanley. Don't beat us.
Maybe one day we'll showcase him. And he's a fine man, and he's single. Just so that you know.
She's really putting you on the spot, dude.
You know, I was doing relationship
Sorry about that.
matchmaking last year.
Right.
So
that was the whole thing.
I wrote about it. You can lead my article on it.
What was that laugh? Stop it.
I mean, that laughter feels it's two ways. No, let's not deflect.
Goodness.
But deflect.
Continue. Focus. Stay focused. Yeah, so they are masters at maintaining an even tone and temper, and we use strategies such as taking a break and then coming back to the conversation, or writing points and then communicating them to ensure that things stay balanced and healthy. You know, mediating is the most common fight languages of couples who did not begin with the same fight language, but have over time learned to communicate with one another.
Do you know why? And yes, because I remember I have a friend, one of my oldest friends, right? So for a long time, and what he always does was, and I told you that how will I explain it? I can be extra. So this is not. I don't think it's extra. If you tell me that, exactly. So if you tell me that, oh, Kofo, we're talking, I'm like, oh, Kofo, I'm so sorry, a call came in, I'll call you back. Mm-hmm. I promise you, I am holding you by that, I will call you back. So if you do not call me back, I have a problem with it.
Yeah.
You don't call me back, you don't communicate that, oh, sorry, I can't call you back. You know, I'm very big on those things. So I was always doing it. So one day I just snapped that, what is your problem?
One day.
You know, I'm like, I don't like it because there's an expectation. I'm actually waiting at the end of the line for you to call back. I have things I'm doing, right? So it means I'm putting you, you know, I'm prioritizing you in this moment. So we used to have that fight back and forth. Until one day I'm like, you know, I'm tired of repeating the same thing over and over again. Oh. So we used to argue, like when I said we've known for a long time, we met when I was 17, and this is 10 years after. So recently, over the years, something happened again. I didn't say it immediately. Like maybe some months later, I'd written it down. I'm like, oh, XYZ, we need to talk. It was like, okay. So we need to talk. And I said, okay, I just brought out my paper. I'm like, I said, yes. And that's the only way I think I will be able to articulate my points without deflecting, without beating around the bush. Yeah. Just telling you that, like, one, this, and this, you know, it was so, you know, it's fun looking at you like, wow, you've grown. I'm like, okay, so this. And everybody was like, okay. You know, since that day, even when you cannot call back, you say, if you even call me back to say I cannot call back. Now I'm calling you back because I cannot call back. I'm like, yeah, I see you. Yeah. And the funny thing is, when it changed, right? Do you know that the Holy Spirit, some months later, this man, like, one day I was just talking to him, he said, go for it. When this person was doing this thing repeatedly, you were always complaining. Now that he's doing the right thing, have you ever told him thank you or telling him that you recognize the fact that he has changed? I said no. Immediately I called him and I said thank you. Like, I see your effort.
Taking it into cognizance.
Thank you.
Important.
Do you understand? So, like, you know, like, you're showing that I'm important to you enough to take this correction. So Thank you.
It's very important.
I mean, sorry, like that's how my relationship with this priest can be. It knows where to hit me, where to find me.
It's very important because if I can tell you you're wrong, I should also be able to say when you're right.
Like, well
Be
done.
able to say you're doing a great job. You know, in fact, in telling you that you're wrong, I can still state the things that you did right, and I feel like that's how I know and I can trust your judgment that it's true. Because if you're coming at me all the time when you're wrong, and you've never one day said that one thing that I'm right, I feel like you're constantly just looking for all the things that
Yes,
are
your
wrong.
downfall.
Do you understand?
I agree.
So I'm not like I will now be. Also
I don't feel
dismissive.
appreciated. I don't feel seen. Fight is hungry meal.
Find and cast the spirit of fight in you, dear. I think the last one we have here is free communication. It says it's the ultimate goal, meaning that both people feel comfortable enough to express how they are feeling the moment they are feeling it. They are in tune with themselves, but also have enough command of their language that they can communicate with precision and feel understood. For free communication, precision. For free communication to work in a relationship, even tone and temperament is absolutely imperative, as people often learn to do when mediating. People who are free communicators don't necessarily avoid every problem, but they have the least trouble overcoming it and reaching a compromise or conclusion in which everyone feels their perspectives are heard and valued. So I feel like this is like the goal, you know.
Ultimately, like, which is free communication.
Yeah, free communication.
So I don't know why. You know how the internet sometimes just knows what you want to talk about. So just yesterday on Twitter,
With you always there, I believe it's the Holy Spirit.
agreed.
It's the Holy Ghost,
For me.
Spirit of a living God,
Boomer,
realizing.
boomer.
I should. Okay, I'm done.
Yeah, free speech. So I saw it on Twitter yesterday where someone said that, you know, one of the tests before you get married to your spouse is the IKEA test. And IKEA is like a furniture house. So it's like buy a furniture from IKEA and try to couple it together. And if you guys can survive it, then you're meant to be. If not...
Because check the manual. I know how to do it. Check the manual. That's not the place. Oh my goodness.
So that was
Doing
really funny.
things together.
Doing things together. It's a way to find...
Another way that helps is do a puzzle together.
And to find out to find that way.
How to communicate. You would learn that you think you know how to communicate. Somebody told me this once and I tried it with two of my friends. And I realized that we have such a shitty communication because we literally left an activity and for weeks we were angry. We're speaking, but you know that speaking that...
Passive aggressive.
Yes, like,
whatever.
I want that, whoa. Two of you, hello.
But you know the thing, why I love the internet is, so for this fight language, some people might not have identified where the spectrum they fall under, right? And I also believe that you can speak different fight languages depending on the nature of your relationship.
You can walk through the whole fight.
Yeah. So why I said I really like the internet is because I'm very sure there's so many help tools. So depending on the kind of... So if it's you and your friend, you and your significant other, you and your siblings, I think if you just Google, like, fight languages test or something.
YouTube, watch, like, videos. If
you might need to do the test to even identify.
Oh, you mean like test?
The test. They're not looking for how to...
Because they love language test.
Yeah. Oh. So look for how to, like, navigate.
But are those things accurate, though?
No, so the thing I have found personally in doing some of these tests is that the more you grow into your person, the more you get to know yourself, you begin to see, like, some of these things are susceptible to changes. I feel like I'm speaking too much grammar, but
it's you now.
Yes, yeah, like it can be fluid, but so for me, right? When the first time I ever did it, like for love languages, gifts was like top. It's still my top, but I'm also realizing that acts of service and what's it called now? Acts of service and words of affirmation are very closely behind.
I would choose acts of service.
No, and no, that's the thing I know, because that's even the kind of language I find myself speaking to my friends as well when it comes to like gifts. That's how I feel like I know how to.
Giving is from acts of service.
Well, so I think the thing is many people do not understand the gift aspect, which is why you think on an act of service. Gifting is not just buying gifts. Gifting is giving thoughtful, gifts that comes from you listening. Yeah, because I I read this. I read it again, like literally this week.
What are you talking? I feel like we're
No.
so different.
So you were saying that gifting is from acts of service. You not just giving gifts anyhow, Sha. That's what you were heading to. And I'm saying that that's what I thought you were heading to.
Great.
And I was saying that the reason, because when you tell people my love language is gifts, the next thing is says, good digger, you like gifts. And I'm like, it's because you do not understand the gifting aspect of it.
Go digger, how now?
You know, you don't understand the gifting. And when I say gift, I'm not saying, buy me all the Louis Vuittons and everything. I keep saying that one of the best gifts I've received to date. And I'm hoping, like, you know, with many more years of experiences, I will get to share little topics. One of the best one was on my 21st birthday. See, I remember the date. So I had gone into the bookstore with the person I was with, and he wanted to get something, printer supplies, I think. And I'd been looking for this Sefi Atta's book, Everything Good Will Come. I didn't find it. So as I got to the store, we went for something else, and I saw the book, and I'm like, oh my God, that was a very book. And he was like, but you don't have money to buy this book. I know you don't have money. I'm like, no, I must buy it. I've been looking for the book. I was like, don't buy it. He shall convince me. Reluctantly, I dropped the book, and I'm like, I will not forgive you. You know, that type of something. And my birthday was a few days after. And I opened my birthday. Amongst all that, like, my birthday was, the gifts I got was a full-blown experience. But, like, that stood out for me.
We're going to come back to that, people. It was a full-blown experience. Okay.
Relax. That's not the subject matter of this discourse.
No problem.
But, like, what stood out for me to date, I still have the book in my house, and I opened the gift and I saw that book. And you can't imagine, because it's like, it could have bought any other book. You get. He knows I like to read. He could have bought any other book for me. In fact, he could have even bought. No, I like to read. So if you buy me books, I will appreciate it anyways. But it's
literally showed.
It's the fact that he went back. Like, I literally went back to the store.
I feel like he just didn't want you to buy it because he wanted to buy it.
No, so, you know, the thing was, my birthday was maybe 2 days away. If you never entered the store, you would have not known. He already had things that he had planned.
If he didn't, I would have found it shady.
Well, and some other people will not buy it. You know,
True.
So you feel like, that was an obvious.
Yes,
because it's not, people don't see. You have to spell it out to them. This is what I want. So it's just the fact that, oh my God, to me, it spelled, this person is hearing me.
Oh, wow. And you and the person don't continue together now.
Don't talk about my love life on air. And which is, so I'm just saying, I know we're talking about
fight. Talk about it on land.
On land, definitely.
On water.
We talk about it. But I don't deflect.
Sorry.
And so that's what I'm talking about in terms. I don't know where to put thoughtfulness, but I think thoughtfulness comes under gifts because it's a big deal for me. And I always want to know that I'm being heard. I'm being listened to. It's a problem when I can tell that this person is just hearing for a response.
Okay.
Think about it, say I've gone. It's one person that we're not even dating, we're not fighting, we're not dating, and was already trying to gaslight me, telling me that, anyways, God, I forgive you. You know yourself. You are broke, bad behavior. Anyway.
I'm so happy this is video because your face, dear.
Let's go back. Where were you coming? We're going back to fight language.
Free communicators. Do you believe that love languages are also fight languages?
Also fight languages? Mm-hmm. Yes, because so how do I put it? Let's use words. Let's use words.
List the love languages out. So you've
I do they forget.
No.
Acts of service, quality time, words,
physical touch, words of affirmation,
and gift.
Yes.
So what I was going to say that. So I think one of the ways you communicate, or one of the things, so for you to have gotten to that free communication, it means you've probably employed the 5 love languages to get to that point. Let me explain. So normally, on a normal day, you are a deflector. Yeah, as per normal, right? And maybe Boma is a deflector, but Boma's love language is, let's say, words of affirmation, right? If I want to point out the fact that you are a deflector to you.
Acts of service. Acts of service.
Well, this is hypothetical.
Okay, sorry.
Words of affirmation.
But I want you to use acts of service.
Okay, acts of service.
Thank you so much.
If I want to point out...
Husband can be watching.
If I want to point out your... Like, maybe I don't like the way you you deflect when we're conversing. The best way to first do it is, let me first do act of service for you. Let me make you happy. Let me make you relax before I now say. That's what they call the sandwich approach,
Right.
Sweet, sugar, sugar, sugar.
So you're laying
and
the
sweet.
foundation down.
Yes, with the love language. And as I said, I don't think you can divorce one from the other, right?
Divorce.
Mama, allow me now.
You are allowed.
Hi,
Sister
Chineke
name,
me.
no verse. One
Areme.
name. That RMA plays here, but okay.
I know what does it mean.
It's okay. Just
What does it mean? I'm
exclamation.
Hey, now like I'm clicking Areme. But yeah, so I think that it plays a part, and being able to identify. So ultimately, if you're going to get to that free speech, it's because you've learned. Because you can't be doing free speech with me if you're not speaking my love language now. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Right.
You can't if you're not speaking my love. You're supposed to do. No, if you don't speak my love language already, I'm already angry.
Right.
I'm already coming. Now I'm already. I'm already angry. So.
But you're a bad girl, yeah.
I'm proud. Kofo roller. No, yeah, the name.
With the max.
Yeah, me.
Yeah. Okay.
Good.
Back to it.
All right, so that's it for me. But maybe just as we're rounding off, right? Do you have any practical, because you've itemized some of the fights or some of the ways people treat fights. So I said something that happened with you and your friends and all of that. Do you have any practical thing you would like to share, just very, very briefly as we're rounding off, that you think will be beneficial to our listeners?
You see, what I love the most about the last one, free communicators and free communication, is that there's literally no way that you can resolve a fight without communication. And I feel like we throw around the word communication a lot without understanding it. Communication is, first of all, the ability to listen and kill the urge to want to respond. Because the natural ordinance of listening is to want to respond. And this is like scientifically proven. If you listen, you want, it's like call and response.
And listening to respond as opposed to listening to actually.
Thank you.
Hear.
Listening to understand.
I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Listening and hearing me. Do you
So,
understand?
and again, another thing I'm realizing with communication is these days I literally had to start praying, and I started telling the Holy Spirit, because it was something that He talks to me about, and my prayer is, Lord, help me to hear people's emotions.
That prayer is deep.
Because the problem is,
Sorry, can you take it again?
yeah, Lord, help me to hear people's emotions when they're speaking to me about what I've done wrong.
More than your word.
More than their words. When you can hear people's emotion, I'm telling you, you'll be quick to say you're sorry. If you hear how much this thing hurts the person as opposed to the words that they're saying to you, as opposed to you are bad, what they're saying is, what you did caught me deep. It cost me pain. So remove yourself from the situation and think of the action. Don't think of you. Because the problem is, when you think of you think of, I'm not a bad person. And what you're trying to communicate in responding as opposed to understanding is, I'm not bad. There's no way my intention was to hurt you. Great, but you did. Your intention might not have been to hurt, but you did. So why not first acknowledge the person's emotion and say, okay, I didn't realize that this thing would do that. This action, when I was doing it, it was not in my mind, but I recognize how this must have made you feel from what you're telling me.
I love
and
that.
I'm so sorry. So it's the same thing I tell people, don't apologize for being wrong or right. Apologize for how you made the other person feel. And after that person is okay with your apology, then explain the reason behind your action. That
Not
way,
immediately.
No, not immediately. You're supposed to allow the person even take home that apology and like stay on it that this person is sorry. So don't just now say sorry because of how you made the person feel. Act sorry. Do you see?
Don't say sorry in your
Yes,
words, not
don't
your
say sorry in your
actions.
words. Act sorry. So
the problem.
Which is the problem? We say a lot of sorry and we say we've heard, but you've not heard, because tomorrow you will do it. Let me give you a case in point. Me. So I have a friend who communication is a big deal for. I used to think I was a great communicator. So what I do is I do summary communication. I don't
What does
do
that
details.
mean?
You have that problem with me too, where it's like, Poma, you're not communicating this thing to me. I don't know it. Like the day you sent me, and I was like, yo, I'm also going through. And you're like, how will I know if you did not tell me? And it stems from a place in my head
Are you
where
putting me in the outside?
me too, I do bad now. I do not communicate. Do you get? And we're making plans. Like literally, it was like 2 weeks to, and we still, hadn't done stuff. And you're busy, I'm busy, but that made you feel like I wasn't taking seriously the fact that you had things to do. But that wasn't what I was trying to pass across. I thought that by just giving you headers and one response, must you try? I've responded, must you for any summary? My goodness. And for her, because we do a lot of things together, it's like, I don't know what's going on with you and I'm your friend, but we also serve together in certain capacities. And you're not letting me know that something has changed. So with me, it's a case of maybe I told that summarily that, I won't be around because of this and this. Then it now changes. I do not remember to give you details that, it has changed, though. Like how I communicated sharply. I just remembered on the spot. I texted you, I'm now free next week. I probably wouldn't have if I went into the week because I'll forget. Sunday will now come and we'll know, nothing will happen. Or Saturday will come and nothing. So it's in the taking it to, and it took me a while because I felt like I do communicate. I told you. And she's like, yo, you didn't give me details. So like you said, for you, that whole, I'm 30 minutes, I'm dead. For me, it can be a case of I've told you I'll be late. Why do I have to tell you I'll be 30 minutes late? I'll be 10 minutes late. Now there's traffic. Now the car broke down.
I'm
but
sorry.
I'm
needy. You have to tell me.
I don't even think it's being needy. I think it's taking into importance what matters to you. Do you understand? It doesn't have to matter to me. If it's important to you and you are important to me, automatically it becomes important to me. Do you see? And that's where we always miss it with apologies. So I want to apologize so that the matter can die. And I've explained myself. So you should understand that I did not mean to hurt you, but you did. In fact, hurt me. So apologize, first of all, for how you made me feel. Take into cognizance that I'm not crazy. Because when you explain yourself, what you're saying is you're watering down how I felt. Because now there's a reason behind your action. So the problem is I go back feeling like, should I not be feeling what I'm feeling? And I'm doubting my emotions.
That's now so
it's almost like gaslight. You see, you're dominating and is
I hear you.
So that's where I am with communication, because we think we communicate, but communication is not just speaking and listening or even listening to understand. It's hearing the other person's emotions, how they feel with what you've done, taking it, and that's what I'm learning now. So I come back and I just say, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. I honestly didn't know, what. And I always ask, what can I do to make it better?
Which is absolutely
Which is something that we don't do a lot. I just learned here, like maybe last year. I always ask, what can I do to make it better? Because again, there may be a way that this person wants it to be done that could be easy for you. Because
if you don't learn it now, the conflict would resurface.
Yes.
And you will not know how to deal with it. You don't know how,
because it's a case of you feel like, so the problem is I've taken your feedback, I've said sorry. Now I feel like I'm changing. And on my end, in all honesty, I'm really changing. But you're not seeing it as changing. And it will frustrate me because it's like, I'm making moves. And you're not even recognizing that I'm changing. When in fact, I could have just asked you how. So it's the same thing with love languages. How do you want to be loved? How do you want to be treated? Right? And that's why I like that last line where he said, with free communicators, like once they communicate real and truly and everybody is on the same page, you don't leave until everybody is on the same page. Yeah? They can now walk away and it's done. You will not carry anything back, Ofo, if I treat you this way, because you will really feel hurt. So tomorrow you will not be giving me passive aggressiveness or attitude. It's done. You're done with it. Now, big one even say, I hope I've not done. It's going to become joke. I hope I've not done it again. No, and you're like, no, no, it's not
You're
that
doing
bad.
well.
Juicy. Yeah. So that for
I
me
feel
is
like we said a lot of amazing things.
Amazing God.
Stop it. We're rounding off. Why you?
God.
I thought the
you
energy
always come true for me. Amazing God. I finish.
Okay, so we're done. I have one story to share, but just before I share the story, it's a good time to talk about our sponsor. What's wrong with you? Is it this? Yeah,
I'd like to give a big shout out to all of you sponsoring our podcast. Like, thank you so much for believing in Kofoworala and Tamuno Boma. I really appreciate it. We appreciate it. Without you, we will not be here. Without you,
Boma,
we would
Boma,
not.
Can I speak? Can I speak now?
I was trying to
Thank you. Today's episode is brought to you by 3PC Gifting. It's a gift store and they do a lot of things from customization to creating really
stuck in the fact
nice.
That
I'm sorry.
Thank you.
To creating really nice gift bags. That's your one-stop shop for everything gifting. And we know that Christmas is around the corner.
Hey.
And this is the best time to go to their store on Instagram. They are three Three,
Like
meta.
number 3
Yes.
or THREE?
Number 3. Number 3, PC. So 3 PC.
The letters.
Yeah, letter PC gifting. GIFTING. Yeah, so 3 PC gifting on Instagram for all your. They have so many things: customized bottles, customized gift boxes, and they work with your budget. So just tell them this is how much I have, and they will look for how to work around your budget. Yes, again, you can always say you're from Flow with KB. That does not guarantee you any discount, but it's just nice
You
to
never
know that somebody sent to you from here. So yeah, thank you so much for sponsoring today's episode.
Yes, thank you so much. We appreciate you.
Now my story as we round, and the way I'm going to just end this like abrupt, like not that story. One of the ways or something I learned during my conflict resolution class in UNN.
Wait for one time.
So
Lawyer
our lecturer was
your
teaching us
lordship.
about.
Sorry, I feel like one day you should bring your your lawyer wig cap
What I don't even wear.
and bring it down.
To do what?
We want to do agbejoro. We want to do lawyer on the show. We will not bring it. We will not use this to say to Martha.
Can I continue speaking, please?
Go.
Thank you.
Continue.
Because I'm not understanding what's really going on. But we'll come back. Don't worry. We'll discuss it after.
Thank you so much.
We'll discuss it after. I don't want to say, as in, I'm listening to you. I'm hearing you. So we'll discuss it after. Let's see how we can reach a compromise.
Okay.
Thank
All
you
right.
very much.
Go on with your story, babe.
All right. So our lecturer then was explaining to us about how, like, a couple that was close to her, how they resolve conflict. So they have a special chair in their room. And so she says that it's a rule of thumb that when we are upset and we're arguing, whoever sits on that chair has the floor. So if you're not on that chair, you're not singing, you're mute till whoever is on the chair is able to finish saying whatever. So I'm upset with you. Say, pour out your mind. Maybe you stand up and the other person sits. So whoever has the floor, you can't interrupt. You know when you're arguing, like interrupting. No, you can't. You will wait.
Oh, so it's like, sorry, I'm trying to
Visualize
It's like there's a chair in front of a chair.
No, there's a
they'll
chair.
stand.
So the other person is standing. So whoever has that chair is the person.
So if I go there and sit,
you are the one
the
that
other person has to keep quiet.
Yes,
and then
listen.
I talk.
Yes.
Oh wow.
Yes. And I remember watching Modern Family or Big Bang Theory, and there was an episode like that. It was like staff. Whoever had the staff is the person that should air their grievance.
Wow.
It might not work like for everybody, but it's just a good take home to know, because if the problem with community or fights and all is that everybody's trying to shout, everybody's trying to outshine the other person. So you're feeling like, I know you're hurt, but my own hurt is hotter than your hurt. You know, that kind of thing. They're not on purpose. So, but with that, there's sort of a sense of stability, level-headed. Like, you know what? Let's talk. Let's come to the table of reasoning.
That's so good.
I like that. Let's come to the table of reasoning. I think that's a good thing to adopt. When you are fighting somebody, first thing, let's come to the table of reasoning. Like that's the mediation. Let's come to that table, right? And table of reasoning means we don't have to be shouting over each other. We are reasonable. We're reasonable people. So what's wrong with you? First of all, always start. Five again. Have you eaten? That's number one problem. Sorry, that's number one problem.
What is
Have you
wrong with
eaten?
you, Kofo?
Once you're taking that out of the table, then
Don't
you can
ask
go on.
Don't ask a girl that is angry if she has eaten DS. Don't do it.
Know.
Don't do it because she will flip. Like
All right, guys. So we hope that today's episode sort of makes you reflect on just your fight languages, and with your spouse, with your friends, with your colleagues, depending on the dynamics, right? We hope that this episode just allows you to reflect really.
And also reflect on those around you.
Yes, and just spurs you to do better in terms of conflict resolution and how to move forward from certain things.
Spurs
Why
you.
is this microphone trying to disgrace me?
Spurs
And on this note, that brings us to the end of today's episode. Thank you for riding with us once again on the Flow with KB.
Why do you say riding?
Flow.
Okay, water. Hey, wonderful. Peace. Thank you for listening to today's episode of Flow with KB. You should definitely catch up on all our previous episodes on Jamit, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, Spotify, and YouTube.